Hi, this is Wardaah Wahid Sabaah from University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh. Today I will be doing a movie review on the movie Drop to Dark, which was nominated in 2016 at Dhaka International Mobile Film Festival. The film was directed by Mir Wadud and the actor of this movie was Shimul Mahmood. Before starting with everything, I would like to mention that this movie is basically a silent movie. And the reason I'm calling this a silent movie is because in this movie there is no dialogue. But on the other hand, there was immense amount of sound used in it, and there was a great usage of Foley in it, which I really liked. The sound effect in this movie was definitely the main attraction of this movie. So in the beginning, which really caught my attention was a constant dripping sound of water throughout the movie. So in the first scene, we can see that there was an empty mug of coffee on the sink and water was dripping into it. So it seemed like the water was showing the time in this movie, because from the beginning till end the water was dripping. So somehow this water dripping represented time in here, and the empty mug represented the protagonist. So in the second shot, we see the protagonist sitting in front of his laptop, and somehow the director did not show the protagonist's face. The protagonist's face was kept hidden. It was not directly shown. So the shot was taken from behind the shoulder. So the protagonist was sitting in front of the laptop, browsing on his social media, going through his friends' Facebook posts, where he seemed to be looking at them and they were having fun. But suddenly there was an extreme close-up of his eyes. An extreme close-up of his eyes, his expression showed. His expression showed that looking at those pictures, he is not happy. It seemed like he is angry or upset and he's not happy. So then he instantly switches to some songs. He starts watching some Hindi songs and some romantic songs. And suddenly his phone starts ringing, like SMS tones starts beeping on his phone. But he seemed to ignore it. Like he was not at all interested to listen to anything else but the music at that moment. And on his table there were books open, but he was not even studying. Suddenly he shuts down the laptop, seemed very frustrated. He stood up. He opened the drawer. So from here we can see a very repetitive usage of his actions. Like he opens the drawer and there was a phone beeping. He closes it. And he opens the drawer again and he closes it. So there is a repetitive behavior. So from that instant moment, we see a repetitive behavior in everything he does, like opening his door and opening the tap of water. He's like opening and closing and opening and closing. It's like repetition. So from this, it seemed like this guy was going through some kind of mental distress, and he had lots of books piled up in his bookshelf. He had books open on his table. So it seemed like he was a brilliant guy who was a good student, studying a lot with lots of books around him. But somehow he lost interest in everything and he was looking for something else to connect with. whether it's friend or some kind of relationship he was looking for, because he was looking at some romantic movies, songs. So later, from this repetitive behavior that we see, it can be said that he is living in a loop, a constant loop. He's doing the same thing over and over. He's living in a loop. It could also represent obsessive compulsive disorder, or some kind of like a monotonous life, that same thing going on over and over again. And he somehow isolated himself into it, like he does not want to communicate with anyone. And it's evident because he's not taking his calls or his messages. He is keeping himself isolated. He does not want to interact with anyone, but he is also trying to connect with the world. So this could be some kind of mental disorder he's going through, which is uh, keeping himself away from the world, while he also wants to connect with the world, but he's not being able to. So from this repetitive movement, we then see that he gets out of this washroom, then he chooses his clothes. Again, repetitive movement. He's choosing his clothes. He puts on his clothes. He gets out of the house in a repetitive movement manner. When he gets out of the house, while he was getting out of the house, the shot shows that, like, it was a dual shot shown, that the cup was filled with water already, and the water was like overflowing from the cup, which could represent that his patience has probably, overflown. He can't take it anymore. And then he opens the door and he walks down his stairs, and he just walks into darkness. And that's where the movie ends. Like, he walks into the darkness, and it's like he disappeared in the darkness. So it is a very negative movie, I would say. Negative in the sense, because it also made me sad that a person who's going through such mental, trauma, who's not being able to express or connect himself, but also isolating himself from the world, and he is disappearing in the dark. This darkness could mean anything, from isolation to suicide to anything. He's just disappearing. So it is a very metaphoric movie, I would say. And the movie was entirely shot in a yellowish tone, which gave the movie a very gloomy and depressing look itself. And the director directed and projected the storyline very well. I really like how he placed the shots, and how he used some kind of montage to go through the real, feeling. The uses of montage in this movie was excellent, and I really enjoyed the movie. And it's must watch, I would say. Thank you very much.